Here's an experiment Consumer Reports actually ran. They sent secret shoppers to price the exact same event, same food, same flowers, same photography, but described it two different ways. To some vendors it was a 50th anniversary party. To others, the identical event was a wedding. And more than a quarter of the vendors quoted a higher price for the wedding. Same party. One word. One Atlanta photographer charged nearly double for what was described as an almost identical package. That is the wedding tax, and it's the reason the average American wedding now costs around $34,000 for a single day. But before you grab a pitchfork, the honest answer is more interesting than vendors are crooks. Because most vendors in that test didn't charge more, and the ones who did often had a real reason. The truth is a mix of the two, and untangling it tells you exactly how the whole wedding industry is built. Let's be fair to the vendors first, because it matters. A wedding genuinely can cost a caterer or a photographer more than an anniversary party. There are more hours, more staff, higher stakes, and a client who will never forgive a mistake on the one day that's supposed to be perfect. Some of the wedding tax is just real cost. But not all of it. In that same Consumer Reports test, roughly a quarter of vendors charged more for literally identical work, and researchers have since published a peer-reviewed study documenting the same thing, a two-tier pricing pattern where the wedding version of a service simply costs more than the regular one. And the fees hide in the fine print. Consumer Reports found built-in gratuities as high as 26% and a $7 per person cake cutting fee for the crime of cutting a cake you already paid for. So it's not that every vendor is gouging you. It's that the wedding is the one purchase where a vendor can charge more, and a meaningful share of them will. The real question is, why does that work? Why don't couples just walk away? Because a wedding is almost perfectly designed to strip away your bargaining power. And it starts with information. Think about who's on each side of the table. You will plan one wedding in your life. You have no idea what a photographer, a florist, or a venue should cost, because you've never bought any of it before. The vendor, on the other side, does this every single weekend. They know exactly what the market will bear, and you know almost nothing. That imbalance, economists call it information asymmetry, is the vendor's single biggest advantage, and the wedding maximizes it. Then the emotions do the rest. This is sold to you as the most important day of your life, a once-in-a-lifetime, can't redo it, everyone you know is watching event. Try negotiating hard when the pitch is don't you want it to be perfect. And once you've booked the venue with a non-refundable deposit and locked the date, you're trapped in the most expensive psychology there is, sunk cost. You've already committed thousands, so every upgrade, the nicer flowers, the extra course, the open bar, feels small against the total. Which is exactly why Consumer Reports found that 61% of couples blow past their budget, most of them by more than 20%. There's one more lever, and it's the most honest one, the date itself. A Saturday in peak wedding season is the single most expensive slot a venue sells, and everyone wants it. Move the same wedding to a Friday, or to the off-season, and you can often save around 20% for an identical party. It's pure scarcity pricing, the same reason a flight costs more on a holiday. But the deepest reason weddings cost so much isn't any single fee. It's the belief underneath them, that you must spend big to prove your love. And a surprising amount of that belief was manufactured. The idea that a wedding requires a diamond? That was an advertising campaign. In 1947, a copywriter for the diamond company De Beers wrote 4 words, "A diamond is forever," and turned a rock most brides didn't have into a near universal expectation. The rule that you should spend 2 months' salary on the ring? De Beers made that up too, in the 1980s. It was never a tradition, it was a marketing line. That same playbook, turn an emotion into an obligation, is the foundation of a $70 to $100 billion American wedding industry. We covered the diamond side of this in another video, it's worth a watch. So, why are weddings so expensive? Part of it is real, weddings genuinely cost more to pull off. But layered on top is a business model that uses the perfect day story against you, or a vendor who knows the market when you don't, an emotion that makes haggling feel like heresy, a non-refundable deposit that locks you in, and a tradition that was, in places, literally written by an ad agency. The dress, the cake, the flowers are real. The price is built on the one day you are least willing, and least able, to say that's too much. If you found that useful, this is Why Is It So Expensive?, the series that follows the money past the price tag. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.